But back in Gatwick, it's not such plain sailing.
I haven't finished yet. It's alright. Sir, let's go.
My document. Let's have a look.
Yeah. So I need to have a look at that.
No.
Right.
This is my document. This is special.
That's special, is it?
Yeah.
Right, I need to have a quick look.
No. This is my document. That's special. Don't need to have a look at this.
Anything you have in your baggage, sir, is liable for me to have a look at. Alright?
You don't need to read my stuff.
Stay there. Stay there.
The man's erratic behaviour is still causing concern.
Alright, you're not being very helpful, sir, are you? Just want to leave that stuff there a second.
Some background checks reveal this isn't his first brush with the authorities.
Yes, CROs and MOs experiments.
Fits in.
To rule out any possibility the man's carrying drugs, they need to search him and swab his shoes.
I've spoken to an independent senior officer, alright, and they've authorised a rub-down search of your person.
What that mean?
Just like a pat-down search like that, okay? What we do is, we'll take your stuff with you and we'll go to there's a private room just out there, right?
Out the back, the man continues to make things difficult.
Yeah, just place it on the bed for us. That's right, just place it on the bed and you can see it when it's done. I'd rather you just place it on the bed. Sir, please.
You can search.
I'd rather you just place it on the bed. Do a swab of them. Thanks. It's got 2 mobile phones plus another SIM card. But again, nothing on the shoes, so there's no other reason to hold them. So, all right.
In the end, it was all a lot of fuss about nothing.
The smallest reason someone can just kick off, and he just threw his dummy out of the pram and just chucked everything around, and that was about as much as he could do. You know, in those first couple of seconds, if it's going to be worth it or not. With him, and it was definitely worth taking further, just to see what his story was, really.
The driver of the chipboard truck was released on bail, while investigations into who's responsible for the 2 million cigarettes continue.
And we've sighted a sloop sailing yacht, which is heading in an easterly direction. We're within territorial limits, so we're going to send our RIB boarding team over there to have a word with them and to see where they've come from.
In summer, the RIB team board dozens of yachts a day, hunting for smugglers hiding amongst the traffic. But winter also produces drug seizures from criminals on do-or-die missions across the Atlantic.
We haven't seen any other yachts recently, so it's always worth checking as to why he's out here and no one else is at the moment.
The only way to find out is to go on board. Protecting Britain's borders is a 24-hour-a-day job. And in the Dover freight lanes, officers have to make instant assessments about which trucks to stop and which to let go.
And the danger is, of course, you say, no, this one's free to go, but you're thinking last night or 2 shifts ago, you know, have I maybe let something through? It's a bit of a game, you know.
On his 12-hour night shift, Alex has stopped a truck carrying salad, which unusually doesn't have a date stamp. It's small mistakes like this which can catch out smugglers.
It's hard to see though from the paperwork, right? This paperwork is pretty duff here.
The state of the trailer makes Alex suspect it may have something to hide.
Yeah, okay.
It's to be a refurb. Well, not a very good one, but...
We'll go drill it.
Have a look in the base first.
Right. Okay, Chef, we go to Rampa? Rampa? Yeah. You drive. No problem. No problem, Chef. We go to Rampa.
The driver's annoyed at being delayed, claiming the delay will ruin his perishable salad and he won't get paid.
Okay, Chef. we give you documents.
But a trailer like this must be searched properly.
No problema. Stop pretending no problema. Okay, chef, we're going to take a look, yeah? So go to the ramp. But and the driver's attitude as well, you know, when I try to direct him to the bays, he's trying to tell me he's got to be in Birmingham by 8 o'clock in the morning. We all know what the traffic's like.
Smugglers use any space they can to evade customs detection. Alex has seen plenty of dodgy vehicles and thinks this may be yet another.
Oh, there's screws missing. I mean, it'd be a pretty obvious one, but stranger things have happened.
As the excitement builds amongst the team, in the bay next door, another team have made a shocking find.
Yeah, is it possible to get immigration to the base, please? We've got one illegal at the moment.
This team have just found a clandestine concealed underneath the vehicle.
If you look from underneath the back of the lorry, you can just see a leg sticking out.
The shocked driver appears to know nothing about the illegal stowaway, who's still hiding under the truck.
Well, I was just checking the floor of the trailer from back, and I was just shining my torch along the underneath the trailer, and I could see a person's leg, a pair of jeans or something underneath the trailer. It's just someone sitting on top of the axles. It's a bit shocking, really.
Illegal immigrants risking their lives in this way is frighteningly common. Officers manage to gently persuade the stowaway out of his freezing hiding place.
That's it.
Yep.
First pallet.
Right.
Try pallet.
Yes.
Scared and cold, the man is surrounded and detained. Next, officers make sure he isn't going to pose a threat to them or himself.
Right, so this is near Northampton. This is Bristol. Bristol, London.
No, Bristol, London.
960 kilometres.
A detention notice will be issued by the immigration authorities, and then Group 4 will come detain the person until the immigration authorities actually can come and process him in the morning, which isn't too far away now.
It's a sombre end to a long night, especially for this man and the driver.
You know, just shine my torch and everyone just knows it's a clandestine. We know it's an immigrant. When I say I've seen quite a few, so the driver's more shocked than me. And when we showed him, you could see he was quite upset, really.
The driver's truck appeared to be the perfect cover for this illegal immigrant, but his long journey will end in a night behind bars. Meanwhile, the angry behaviour of the driver on the other rummage bay means his truck will be X-rayed. Ben's team are now hopeful they too will find something.
The guy's attitude as well is not putting us off.
Also on the hunt for drugs, the RIB team are now set to search the suspicious yacht. Customs officers have the power to board and search any vessel, but sometimes this invasion of privacy can cause tensions. The cutter monitors the situation on board, whilst doing background checks on the yacht and its crew.
Like a nice enough couple, don't they? They've got their life jackets on and life raft, dinghy. Usually people are quite helpful and friendly, and they're quite pleased to see us and chat to us. Hopefully.
The sailors may look happy enough, but on board they're venting their frustrations at being boarded.
This is the second time this has happened to us. Yes.
Is this recently, is it?
Well, no. Some years ago, but it's so intrusive. It took absolutely ages last time, and we had a stinking passage.
Right.
Arrived at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
Some flipping customs boat with all else to do.
That's it. I couldn't believe it. At that time in the morning. Well, like I say, it should only take a couple of minutes.
The RIB team do their best to calm the sailors, while the cutter checks for previous offences.
Thank you.
We weren't too happy about us going on board. They'd had a bad experience with customs before, and they were fine by the time we left. Obviously, you're boarding a yacht, and these people live on those yachts for days and days at a time, so they've got all their personal possessions and everything out there and below. You've got to be careful when you're going into somebody else's home like that. never happy enough when we left.
The search may have been an inconvenience, but officers must take action if they see something that fits the profile of a smuggler. But most customs work comes from intelligence leads. In Gatwick, the intelligence unit has identified 2 suspects returning from Trinidad, and the officers are waiting for them. The suspects have been ignoring each other for the whole flight.
He's looking around.
This is behaviour often associated with smugglers.
Just behind the barrier. The guy in khaki, he was looking around a hell of a lot when he came down here. Yeah, he was. Or when he was a bit better. But disassociated with all of their travel until now. This is to coming. Hello, sir. Hi. Where are you from today?
Pardon?
In from Barbados?
Port of Spain.
Port of Spain. Okay, can we have a quick word? Are you travelling with anybody at all?
Yes, I am.
Okay. You come on over for both.
Go on, let's just get it over and done with. Go on, strip the bags down.
Is this your luggage?
Go for it. Knock yourselves out.
Yeah. Is this your luggage?
Just knock yourself out. That's mine. Help yourself.
And that one's yours, is it?
Yep.
Okay. Did you pack all this luggage yourselves?
Yes, I did.
That's great. Has anybody given you anything to bring into the country?
No.
Okay, and you understand some things are not allowed here drugs-wise, of course.
Really?
Okay.
Like what?
All right,
Help me
that's
out.
great. Cannabis and all the rest
Seriously?
of it. Yeah.
Not allowed that here, no?
No, that's right. Okay, come on over.
The bag swab on the man in beige gives a hit for
Check if
cocaine.
there's any traces of a test for cocaine and heroin. No, it's not worth it. If that's the go. I've got authority to rub him down.
The man in black also gives a high score for cocaine. It looks like the intelligence may prove correct.
No, there's one final thing that we'd like to do.
Which is?
Search a person.
Sure you're not going to take my word for it, though?
Well, unfortunately, much as we might like to, we've got to be 100% certain.
In Dover, the salad truck with a suspicious floor is about to be x-rayed.
Yeah, we're just doing lots of scanning, so obviously a load like that we're trying to get into without ruining it really. Or certainly some anyway, so just to get the scan and hopefully they'll clear it or not.
The delayed driver's behaviour is the other reason they decided to scan the lorry.
The driver's attitude isn't doing himself any favours at the moment still, so... And obviously, although we've done the outside and looked at the structure of the vehicle, it's always handy to have a second opinion, which is what this kind of gives us.
The team were initially convinced this was going to be a job, but it's looking like the team who found the illegal immigrant have had all the excitement for tonight.
No, it's like water pressure, something like that. So it's very light, but the rest of it is, I don't know.
The scan quickly shows that the floor is clean and the cargo of salad can be on its way.
If you're happy, mate.
Alex and Ben send the driver away reasonably happy, advising him to allow more time in future. The officers then go back out to stop their next customer. Still to come, a drug suspect feels victimised.
Called me in because of my appearance.
It had nothing to do with your appearance.
I'm afraid I think it was.
All right, but anything
You're being prejudiced and
Coming up, a drug suspect feels victimised.
Called me in because of my appearance.
It had nothing to do with your appearance.
I'm afraid I think it was.
All right, but anything
You're being prejudiced and
Drug smuggling through airports is big business for organised gangs. Today, Customs have a tip-off that passengers carrying cocaine will be arriving in Bristol from Amsterdam.
We've already had a word with immigration. Once they've been pointed out, we've got 2 officers that are ready to do the arrest.
With no idea what they look like, John's team are hoping to get a point out from immigration and will then stop and search the suspects.
The lady has got an address in Holland and an address in the US, but we think they're both UK nationals. Basically, you can smuggle drugs in anything. We've had it in baby's milk powder, in tins of fruit, in tins of vegetables, meat even. They just adapt and improve their techniques, and we've got to make sure that we keep up with that and find it and keep it off the streets.
It turns out the female passenger is an American national, and the answers she gives to immigration's questions are already revealing lies.
The woman with the orange jacket on and sat down behind immigration, or in front of immigration. That's the woman.
She's staying with him at this address, travelling alone.
Superb. I've got to go just in case he goes through. That's brilliant.
The passengers have split up, but an immigration officer at passport control identifies the suspect and gives John and Erica a discreet nod. The tip-off was that the passengers are bringing in cocaine. The lies at passport control are suspicious, but John needs to find the evidence or they'll be free to go.
Do you want me?
Hello, sir. Customs. You travelling on your own today? Who are you travelling with?
Well, my girlfriend, she's still the other side. She's an American citizen, so she's being held up there.
Oh, right, okay. And is this all your luggage?
That's hers, that's mine, and this is mine.
Okay. So why have you picked your girlfriends up then?
Being polite.
Right, okay. You just want to come through with me then? And does she live with you full time, or is she just here on vacation?
Just here visit.
Okay, have you got a ticket for your flight?
The man's admission that he's travelling with his girlfriend contradicts her story at immigration, and the route they've flown sounds like an attempt to avoid customs attention.
And you've come in from Amsterdam. Were you anywhere before Amsterdam?
Yep, Texas, Frankfurt, and Chicago.
So how long have you been out of the UK?
Since Thursday.
Oh. Are you married?
Yeah, I'm married.
Oh, right, when did you get married?
Friday.
Oh. Do you ever use any drugs?
No.
No? What about your girlfriend?
I've done in the past, but I decided to get my act together.
Do you still smoke then, or not? Well, you're completely clean. You must have a vice.
The female passenger has been interviewed by immigration and can now be searched by customs.
Went from Dallas to Frankfurt, Germany.
Right.
And then Frankfurt, Germany to Amsterdam, and then Amsterdam
To here.
Bristol.
Right.
Their flight plans match up, but the woman is very nervous.
I really have to pee. Is there some point, does somebody want to go with me to the bathroom? I just gotta pee. If
Yeah.
you're gonna watch me pee, I just gotta go.
Because the woman is possibly carrying drugs, Erica must accompany her to the toilet.
Okay.
But it turns out to be just nerves. And John's bag search has also turned up nothing.
It was looking really good because the woman at immigration said that she's on her own. He came down, started fiddling with his mobile to text her, picked up her bag and brought her bag through. Well, she was still at immigration. After, obviously he may not have known that she had said that she was on her own.
You finished the bags?
Yeah, I'll do some testing.
The last thing to do is swab the bags for drugs. If this comes up negative, John will be forced to let the suspects go. Back in Gatwick, the officers are body searching the two targets whose bags gave high readings for cocaine.
What did your friend do?
Is he okay? He seems a bit jumpy.
He's just a hyperactive person.
Is he?
Weird.
He's not hyperactive at the moment for a reason. He hasn't been using on the planes or something like that. If you want to wait here for your buddy, I should imagine he'll get searched as well soon. I understand his bag's given a reading for cocaine as well.
Told you before. Point that. Have there been anything to do with coke out there at all?
I don't think, well, first thought we don't want to be on it. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That's why he found a trace. I told him, I said the reason he found a trace in the laptop is because I will sit there, do a bit and play on my laptop.
What's he saying? He's been out for a holiday.
Been out there for a holiday. He's used coke and cannabis, which is why the high traces of coke on the laptop bag. There you go. He's been well turned out whilst he was over there, and he knew that he was being stopped on the way back.
Do you fancy him for internal at all?
No, I don't think so.
No? Right, okay. Let's get him on the way.
Yeah.
Right.
The intelligence that they're involved with drugs was correct, but personal use abroad isn't a matter for UK customs, and the search for smugglers will have to continue.
There's a sense of anti-climax, because, you're looking for the gear and it's not there. But, next time.
Successful drug seizures at sea are often triggered by foreign surveillance aircraft who alert British Customs when a suspicious vessel is headed for UK waters.
In February 2000, we became alerted to suspicious activity by the French Customs Service, who had been patrolling the western fringes of the Bay of Biscay. They did some basic checks, as they do in all vessels, and found out that it had been registered from Panama. They also noticed that there was a number of items on board which appeared to be barrels, which they thought was a little bit unusual. They got in quite close to it, and I think as a result of that, the vessel turned off its GPS, which the French thought a little bit unusual. They were suspicious of that. The vessel was heading towards the UK mainland.
Immediately, the French alerted the British cutters.
We were very fortunate in that we had quite a number of cutters who were actually in South Coast ports at the time, and therefore they were immediately deployed to the coordinates that the French were constantly giving for the vessel. It was very important to continue to track the vessel, and round the clock, this was during the day and at night, they sent up light aircraft to continue that monitoring.
The suspects on board knew they were being watched from all sides.
The cutters who were surveilling were able to observe the barrels being jettisoned by someone on that particular vessel into the English Channel.
The cutter crew decided to strike.
They don't know what they're going to find. It could be that there are firearms on board, and officers have met their death in doing this type of work before.
Once on board, the crew were arrested immediately. Meanwhile, the RIB team searched for the evidence. Their swift action recovered all the barrels containing one of the biggest hauls of cannabis for years.
When all the barrels were recovered, it totaled 680 kilos of cannabis, which then had a street value in the region of about 3.5 to 4 million pounds. So it was a very significant seizure of cannabis. They were all eventually found guilty by jury trial, and they were sentenced to 9, 7 and 5 years.
Thanks to the cutters, 3 more drug smugglers were safely behind bars. Back in Bristol, John's waiting for the result of the last drug swab on the passengers from Amsterdam. The test result proves that the anonymous tip-off claiming they were carrying drugs was false.
Okay, what we'll do, we'll pack you back up.
Yep.
Quite happy, really.
Yeah.
He's very calm. I just don't understand why she would have told the immigration officer she's travelling on her own.
Because they've got a problem with it.
Have they?
Yeah. She's been over for a long time. She's using the visitors passport.
Ah, right, I see.
She said, which would justify why they split.
But he's completely clean. Shoes, bag, passport.
But what began as a customs search has identified an immigration problem, and their contradictory accounts will help immigration with their inquiries.
But she said she was travelling on her own at the inception point.
I did that absolutely nicely for security. She's not displaced then.
Oh, right, okay. I've just been to speak to immigration, and there's a problem with her passport in that it looks like she's doing lots of trips in and around Europe, possibly to disguise the fact that she's been staying in the UK for longer than she perhaps should be. And because she's made untruthful statements to immigration, it looks highly likely that they're going to be sending her back to the United States.
The couple are given the all clear by customs, but the female passenger will be detained, which won't please her new husband.
Immigration are keeping her there for the time being. They want to have a chat with her. Unfortunately, there's nothing I can do to help you with that. I mean,
the thing is,
I'm not.
Just because of my appearance.
No, it wasn't that.
No.
No, I can assure you, it wasn't anything to do with your appearance.
Okay.
All right. I mean, there are. Your wife has said things which are concerning immigration at the moment, and that's why they want to talk to her about it.
That wasn't why you pulled us in there, was it?
I pulled you in separate to your wife.
You pulled me in because of my appearance.
It had nothing to do with your appearance.
I'm afraid I think...
Pulls over one unhappy customer.
I'm going to have a look.
I'm not happy what you're doing right now.
Well, that's fine. If you're not happy, sir.
Honestly.
If you're not happy,
Really
there's
not
a
happy.
complaints procedure.
Gatwick Airport, a flight has just landed from Bridgetown in Barbados, a popular transit route for drug smugglers. The body language of one passenger has caught the eye of officers. He's been acting nervously since coming through immigration, so he's pulled over to answer a few questions.
How long ago did you book the trip?
Trip?
Yeah.
Yeah. I planned it about a month ago. I bought the ticket early last week. I bought the travel.
So did you go from Canada to?
Yeah, to Barbados. Yeah, I went from there. Well, I figured it was better to go there first and all the way back. Just to make sense.
A quick search of the man's suitcase has revealed nothing suspicious, but his animated and nervous behaviour is causing great concern.
So, have you used any cocaine while you're in a way?
No, I haven't.
So if we do an X-ray of you, there'll be no cocaine use. There have no packages. You sure? So you'll have no problem doing an X-ray?
Have to do an X-ray?
Yeah. You've got a package of cocaine inside you? Are you sure about this?
Sure.
Yeah?
But the man's answers aren't convincing, and he started to sweat noticeably. A swab test of his suitcase is carried out for any traces of drugs. The machine gives an extremely high reading for the presence of cocaine. As the circumstances become even more suspicious, officers escort the man to a private interview room for questioning. Here they hope he may confess to being a drug smuggler.
You can't stop talking. You look as nervous as anything. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Okay, go on.
I think you may have drugs inside you, or on your person. Okay?
He's basically done a couple of iron tracks and they've come up quite high. He suspects that it may be internal concealment. So he's just arrested him now, and then I dare say, provided we get acceptance from him, that we'll body scan him just to check that he's clear.
Smugglers carrying packages internally often secrete traces of drugs through the sweat in their shoes. A swab test is conducted for any further hits of cocaine. And another very high reading for cocaine causes more concern, giving officers a good reason to put the passenger through a full-body X-ray. It's a busy morning at Bristol Airport. Passengers have arrived back from Malaga and are waiting in baggage reclaim for their luggage. Officers have been X-raying suitcases coming off the flight and have identified a number of bags carrying large quantities of tobacco. Officer Brandon spots the first bag being collected by a male passenger and moves into position to intercept him in the customs channels.
Hello there, sir. Customs. So you come through travelling by yourself today? Yeah. Just yourself, is it? Okay.
Tobacco products purchased in Spain are only allowed to enter the UK if they're for personal use.
Have you ever been stopped by customs before? No. Have you purchased any excise goods whilst you've been away? Cigarettes, tobacco, anything like that? Okay. How much tobacco have you got?
As the passenger struggles with the padlock on his bag, Officer Erica has been looking at the passenger list for the flight.
Are you travelling with anyone else at all? Or? No?
But she knows this isn't true. The man is travelling with his wife and he faces an uncomfortable reunion.
Excuse me, madam, have you got your passport at all?
Me.
Yeah. Your husband's got it? So you're travelling with your husband?
Yeah.
Right, okay, if you can step with us, we've just pulled him in a second.
What's your tobacco for then?
I smoke for myself.
Is that your husband there?
Two lads, they smoke as well.
Right.
Right, okay. When did you last travel abroad?
4 weeks ago.
Who's this?
My wife,
Oh. How do you manage to travel alone then, and all of a sudden your wife's here? Did you not know you were both flying at the same time?
No, it was like that though.
Right.
But I asked you again, and you still said you weren't travelling with anyone.
Right, bear me a moment, okay?
Brandon decides to run some background checks. The man has been stopped by customs in the past, meaning he's lied more than once.
He doesn't know the combination for his case. He said he's not been stopped by customs on a previous occasion, which obviously is a lie again. There's got to be reasons. There's casting a lot of doubt in my mind. We'll have a look what he's got in there, and we'll take things from there. Oh, you got it off, did you?
The man must prove his tobacco products are for personal use. But given he's lied twice already, Brandon is less inclined to believe anything he has to say.
What quantity of goods do you have there?
If they fail to convince officers that the tobacco is only for themselves, they face having all of their goods seized. In Gatwick, officers are about to x-ray a nervous Canadian man who they suspect is trying to smuggle drugs inside his body. A swab test has been conducted on the passenger's shoes, and due to the extremely high reading for cocaine, he's been led away for a full-body x-ray. This isn't helping his nervous behaviour.
Right.
Is this a consent?
Yeah, because you're taking our x-ray,
Yeah.
we need your consent to say that you'll do it for us.
Well, I'm not going to give you my consent. I think this is a load of crap.
Okay, well what happens then if you don't do the x-ray? You stay with us until you've produced 2 clear bowel movements, however long that may take.
If you don't want to, that's fine. We'll just take you downstairs, get you custodised, put you in a cell in a white suit, and we'll wait there till you've moved your bowels twice to show there's no packages there. Or we can do it now by doing an X-ray. You're cool.
The man's options are limited. They'll find out one way or another whether he swallowed any drugs.
Right, now what you need to do, this conveyor belt's going to move, yeah? You're going to stand on it. You need to stand on it as I'm standing on it, nice and straight, yeah? Arms by his side, nice and still. And breathe out slowly, yeah? Until your lungs are empty and hold.
With the net closing in, officers try to get him to confess.
How many packages you got?
What?
Cocaine inside you?
No.
Huh?
Incredibly, he's still denying it. But the X-ray images confirm their suspicions that he's stuffed with packages. The man is led away to the airport's custody suite.
Let us know immediately if you feel unwell. Hello.
He kept pleading his innocence, but after a week and a half in custody, he eventually went to the toilet and produced 36 packages of cocaine with a street value of over £30,000. Back at Bristol, an elderly couple are trying to prove that a large quantity of cigarettes and tobacco purchased in Spain is for their personal use only and not illegal resale.
So no papers, no filters, no smoking tin? Nothing? What about yourself? Do you have anything like that? You just smoke cigarettes, okay? With the fingers, and there's no odour, no tobacco odour from them. I'm quite convinced that they're non-smokers. Do you want to come and take
the officers decide to take the couple away for further questioning.
No, you stay separate. I'll get you a seat now.
They'll be interviewed separately to see if their stories are the same.
If they're telling lies, then it's very rare that they'll have the same story, unless they're well rehearsed. But I doubt that is the case.
During the interviews, it's revealed that the couple regularly buy tobacco abroad for themselves and their sons.
How does that work? Do they tell you how much they want, or do you charge them for the quantity you give them when you get back?
I pay the bill, you see, and then we split it 3 ways, whatever it was.
But receiving money for goods is an offence, even if it's from family members.
Bought him for Christmas presents mostly, for the children, grandchildren.
So why did you lie about travelling with your wife?
As I say, it was just news, I don't know why I said it.
As Brandon and Erica compare notes, there's some inconsistencies in their stories.
His wife basically has given a different story, painted a different picture really of where the goods are going and how much they've brought back on a previous occasion. He's also receiving money for 2/3 of the goods. I believe there's enough grounds to make a sort of viable seizure. I'm not satisfied the goods are for yourselves, and there's a commercial element involved, all right? And the goods will be seized from you on this occasion.
Reluctantly, the couple sign papers to confirm that their tobacco is all being seized. They'll have 30 days in which to appeal the seizure, but for now, they're leaving empty-handed. Coming up, one man stopped at Gatwick yet again.
Yeah, I've stopped him before. And when we did the iron track, it gave us the highest I've ever seen.
Coming up, in Birmingham, Officer Mike gets some job advice.
I don't tell you what to do for your job, you please don't tell me what to do for mine, and then we'll get on just fine, won't we?
At Gatwick Airport, a plane has just touched down from Amsterdam, and border agency officers are observing passengers as they disembark the flight. In immigration control, officers have been alerted to a Dutchman entering the country.
What we're going to do is just go around to the bench here, just have a quick look inside your bag.
It seems this is not the first time the man has been stopped.
We saw this guy a couple of months ago. He's a frequent traveller to the UK. When he's intercepted, he comes up with a different reason for travel each time. He comes up with a different background story each time. For some reason, he doesn't want to tell us exactly what he's doing.
Okay, now you told me that you wanted to come and live in the UK.
Yeah.
Yes? Is that what your trip is all about? You're coming over here?
Yeah, because I want to find that out. If I like it, but I want to find that out if I really, really like it to stay here. You know?
Okay, but you're not staying very long to try and find out, you know, been here.
Yeah, because I come here a couple of times.
You don't have much baggage with you?
Yes, I don't come for all the time.
But there's good reason to be suspicious.
I've stopped him before, and he had a laptop case. And when we did the iron track on the laptop case, it gave us the highest I've ever seen. And he was very inconsistent with his story at the time. So we body scanned him, we x-rayed him at the hospital, that was all negative, and we had nowhere else to go, we had to let him go.
Having found massively high traces of drugs on the passenger in the past, officers must again rule out the possibility that he may be carrying drugs this time.
You know, I was asking you upstairs about the stamps you have in here for the Dutch Antilles that you went to earlier in the year. You told me you went there on vacation. Did you go on vacation with your wife and children to the Dutch Antilles? Where did you stay?
Family. My family.
You've got family out there. You're a busy person. When do you find time to work? Just take a seat. I'll be back in a moment.
With large quantities of drugs entering the UK from South America and the Caribbean, Sarah needs to make sure his links with the Dutch Antilles are legitimate.
From what I can make out, he actually missed the flight yesterday, so he's come in today. He's going home again tonight. He's saying that he just wants to come over here to see what it's like to live in the UK. But I'm not really very happy with what he's telling me. I'm not really very happy with... You know, he says he works in a shop, in a magazine section of a shop out the back. He doesn't actually sell magazines to the public. But his clothing is quite expensive, and I don't know, something's not hanging together right here.
It's the busiest part of the day at Birmingham Airport, as a number of flights arrive during the lunchtime rush hour. As passengers head for the exit, officers spot a lone male passenger who's been identified as starting his journey in Morocco. Officer Mike pulls him over to ask a few questions.
Are you French, English, Moroccan? English. Yeah, obviously you can't say English anymore. So where's Kenitra? Is that Morocco? Yeah. Is that the ancestral... How long have you been out there?
10 days.
Was that a holiday? Yeah. And who were you visiting? Who were you visiting?
From the man's demeanour, it seems he's less than happy about being stopped.
Parents, yeah. So what do you do in the UK?
Security.
Yeah, what sort of security? Building security, door security?
Not door security, it's obviously retail security.
Retail security. Yeah. Okay. Just bear with me, I'm going to have a quick look through your bag. If you pop it on there for me, okay? Oh, I'm sorry, you've got to go somewhere, sir, but we'll do this as quick as we can. That's what you believe.
The man's anger at being stopped creates more suspicion that he has something to hide.
So where are you off to then? Where are you off to? Where are you off to now? Sorry? You just want to go home. Where's home? Sorry?
If you open it again, please, like the same.
Well, I'll do my best, but, you know, if you're not happy the way we do it, then you can sort it out for yourself, can't you?
What do you mean I sort out myself?
Well, I'll open it the best that I can. If you want, do you want to unwrap it for me?
You know why? Listen to me.
Well, do you want to unwrap it so you can wrap it back up how you want, or do you want me to just cut it open? I'm happy for you to unwrap it.
You can put in, you can use machines or
No,
whatever.
that's... I'm going to have a look.
I'm not happy what you're doing right now.
Well, that's fine. If you're not happy, sir.
Honestly.
If you're not happy, there's a complaints procedure you can follow after we've done this.
I need to talk to someone you see.
Well, no. At the moment, we're going to look in this box, all right? Now, do you want me to cut it open?
I don't want the camera, please. All right. Second, please. Say it.
Yeah, well...
You don't have to open it.
Listen, I don't tell you what to do for your job. You please don't tell me what to do for mine, and then we'll get on just fine, won't we?
With the man's attitude, it's going to take Mike a while to properly search his bags. In Gatwick, officers are still probing the Dutchman with an inconsistent story. His passport shows he's made multiple trips in a short period of time, and they don't know if he's telling the truth or not.
I'm not happy, but at the same time I can't persecute the guy.
No, you can't.
A swab test is conducted on his bag for any traces of drugs.
So, I'm just going to see if I can get any readings from the bag here.
And a positive reading for cocaine leaves Officer Sarah with yet more questions.
Have you got a hit off his bag?
Yes.
How high?
1.96.
No, not as high as last time.
Oh, a bit high.
What does he say he does for a job?
He works in a magazine section behind a shop.
See, last time he said he was involved in his family gold business.
Oh, really? No, there's been no mention of the family gold business. I'll go and investigate further about his job. How long have you worked in this warehouse stroke shop?
5 years. Also for somebody home, like when you have a house, painting, put the floor.
Oh, okay.
The inconsistent job history, along with the lack of evidence, is beginning to frustrate.
I don't want to persecute the guy, but at the same time, there is a lot of stuff that's not adding up.
What we will do is search him to see if we can find anything on his person, any papers, large sums of cash, anything at all, which could indicate the real reason for his travel to the UK, which obviously he doesn't want to tell us about.
I'm really not very happy about some of the things that you've said to me today. You're not here for very long, so for that reason, I've had a search authorised. So some male officers here are going to take you into the room, away from the public view, and they'll just give you a rubber-down search. Okay?
Whilst hoping they may find some concrete evidence to explain the man's suspicious story, it doesn't take long to make a decision.
Okay.
Nothing found means he's free to go.
If you just grab your bag,
Yeah.
and then just make your way through to the exit. Good luck to you in finding a job and working out where you want to live. Okay? Thank you very much for your time.
It's an inexplicable outcome for the officers.
His story, his reasons for being here are unbelievably vague. Doesn't really all add up. Who knows?
In Birmingham, Officer Mike is still searching the bags of the disgruntled passenger who started his journey in Morocco.
What's this? Sorry?
Check them.
Will you tell me what it is before I get there? You tell me you know what's in the bag.
It's kind of sweets.
What's that one do?
Huh?
What's that for?
This?
Yeah.
Medication?
For what?
For headache.
For a headache?
Someone got this drink.
The man's nonchalant answers are proving just as much of a headache for Mike.
So what's that of? What is it? It's your nationality, is it? Who's the other fella? You don't know.
Having found nothing of significance in the man's bag, his shoes are swab tested for any traces of drugs.
I'll just swab the shoes feel a little heavy, and I'll just swab the inside of them to see if we've got a trace reading. As you can see, there's a small trace reading for heroin. I'm just going to pop them through the x-ray now.
Heroin use is widespread in Morocco, and Mike is concerned that the passenger may be concealing the drug in his shoes.
Now to be honest, that looks exactly what I'd expect to see. Looks fine. Okay, so thanks for your patience. You start putting that back if you want to. Well, you can repack it if you want to. I mean, it's the legal obligation is passengers are legally obliged to open and repack their baggage when requested to do so. Just speeds things up for you. I know you're in a rush.
The man is clearly unhappy about the whole incident. Searching passengers and their luggage is part and parcel of the UK Border Agency's role. It's a necessary process, and for the officers, courtesy goes a long way.
There you go. Thanks for your time and your patience. We're very well aware that the majority of people are perfectly innocent travellers going about their normal day-to-day life. The guilty don't wear labels, and it can make our job a lot easier if people are compliant and pleasant with us rather than perhaps trying to see things that aren't there.
The nervous Canadian man who swallowed 36 packages of cocaine pleaded guilty to smuggling drugs and was sentenced to 3 years in prison. In Bristol, early morning flights are being targeted by customs officers, clamping down on passengers attempting to profit from cheap and illegal tobacco from outside the EU.
Colleagues out the back are having a look, see if they can pick out any cigarettes or tobacco, possibly drugs as well. I'll stop whoever needs to be stopped.
Yeah, we've got just the one bag. Is a black and grey, big, soft-sided bundle.
Okay, thank you. It's bag coming through now.
And watches closely to identify the passenger.
Guy with a white t-shirt.
Then waits for him to walk through the green channel. If he has cigarettes, it's at this point an offence has been committed.
Are you aware of the allowances of what you are actually allowed to bring back from Turkey with regards to cigarettes and tobacco?
No.
Okay. Did you purchase any tobacco, cigarettes, alcohol? Who are they for? Are they...
For me and the wife.
Right.
I don't tell them.
Yeah. And we just went by what they told us.
They say they've been given false information in Turkey.
He's actually got somewhere in the region of 4,000 cigarettes, and you are only allowed 200, so that's quite excessive amount to bring back, really.
You just go by what they allow you and pay the consequences, possibly.
It's going to be an expensive mistake, and gives the man the bad news.
It's an offence because you didn't declare it. If you'd have declared it when you came in, before you came through the channels, if you'd have come to one of us and said, got this amount.
Excuse me, I've got to the end of that thing. There's no something to declare or nothing to declare.
There is a red point down there with a phone. It's right by the bag, where the bags come out. As a possibility, you would have been allowed to pay the duty on the cigarettes. But for an amount like this, 5,000 cigarettes, when you're actually only allowed to bring back 200, it's just too much. It's too much, I'm sorry.
In Dover, customs officers are hunting for smugglers on a different scale, and trucks carrying certain cargoes set the alarm bells ringing. This lorry full of chipboard is a prime target.
Or the vehicle looks a bit dodgy, yeah.
Armed with their giant X-ray, customs can quickly scan huge trucks, and innocent drivers can be sent happily on their way.
This load is chipboard, the zone's intact, you're free to scan.
Thank you. So we're looking for any inconsistency. I've been told the load's chipboard, so it should just be the same all the way through. There's something in there that shouldn't be there. This here, there's a shadow across the centre there. You see the shadow even more there, right across the centre.
The X-ray has picked up a large anomaly, which needs further investigation.
Show up. Sneaky. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
It looks highly suspicious. So the truck will now need to be offloaded. It will take hours, meaning a long delay for the driver. Back in Bristol, the man who's had his cheap Turkish cigarettes seized by Anne isn't going quietly. After her 12-hour night shift, Anne's doing her best to keep calm.
There's one rule for one person, one rule for a different person. One customs officer will allow one customs officer will allow something totally different.
This is the kind of thing that puts small businesses out of business, and that is what they tried to stop.
No, it isn't. It's getting the money from the government.
It's a large amount, and it wasn't declared before you came through the channels. You actually came through the channels without making...
What channels you're talking about?
This point down here, these that you walked through.
Show me what you're talking about.
The man doesn't have a leg to stand on, and Anne's patience is being tested to the limit.
I understand at this point there is not a green channel because there is construction work taking place, but everybody that wants to declare something should either speak to one of our officers that is stood here, or this red point here. There is a phone, and if you pick it up, you will be connected to a customs officer and you will need to declare what you have. This is a declaration. If you make this, we offer you to pay the duty. Unfortunately, you didn't do that. I had to stop you.
I came from there. I walked over to here.
Yes.
I'm looking for my baggage. I come round here. I get my baggage. I look here. Nothing to declare. Arrivals from European Union. Whoosh. Where's something to declare?
This is now something to declare.
Hang on. Where is something to declare?
Well, it doesn't
come
need
off
to
it.
say...
Let's play the game.
It doesn't need to say something to declare. You can read, obviously, and that's...
Nothing to declare. Big letters.
Yes, that is. I'm not going to argue anymore. Look, goods to declare, red point. Warning, if you have failed to make the appropriate...
I didn't know that.
I'm not going to argue about it anymore. You do have the right to appeal against my decision. The rules are the rules. I'm sorry, I don't make those rules.
I know, it's just the way, it's just, one for one for another. So I can keep these, can I?
Yes.
As a final act of generosity, Anne decides to let them have back their allowance. But the man's angry mother doesn't know how to keep quiet either.
I think they should be sorted out. They're telling us one thing and law's another thing, though. I'm sorry, but I disagree with that.
Undercover officers also take on cigarette smugglers, but on a global scale. In 2003, investigators in Bristol got a tip-off about a second-hand furniture dealer called Smith smuggling cigarettes from the Far East.
Smith's level of business on his income tax returns didn't reflect on the lifestyle he appeared to enjoy. He had a large house and a swimming pool. It was decided that we would mount a surveillance operation on Smith to identify his associates and to gather evidence to support a likely prosecution for cigarette smuggling. One of these associates was a gentleman in Birmingham called George. George visited Malaysia on a number of occasions, and it was It was obvious that those visits were to organise the eventual importation of containers.
The investigation uncovered an extremely well-organised criminal gang bringing in containers of cigarettes to Southampton container port.
What they were actually doing was piggybacking containers of flat-pack bunk beds from Malaysia and China. The cigarettes were in identical boxes to the flat-pack bunk beds. The only difference was no bunk beds.
During this surveillance, officers in Southampton x-rayed a container hiding over 2 million cigarettes. But to guarantee a conviction and ensure the maximum sentence, officers also wanted to prove that Smith was responsible for coordinating the importation, which meant proving links to the Far East.
It was clear that in Operation Commute that Smith must have had contacts in the Far East. One person identified through the surveillance was a Malaysian national female.
Smith and the woman were clearly unaware that they were the focus of a high-level surveillance operation.
In July of 2003, officers surveilled Smith and the Malaysian female at Heathrow Airport. They surveilled the lady checking in for a flight to Malaysia.
The officers searched her bags covertly and found exactly what they needed.
She was totally unaware that the examination had taken place, and officers found a diary, and this female's diary contained handwritten notes relating to containers, freight charges, Far Eastern ports. The evidence of the diary and Smith's association with this Malaysian female, it put him up the ladder a few rungs. It confirmed that he was an organiser of this fraud.
At this point, the officers decided it was time to seize the containers and stop the illegal gang's trade route.
Their funds were being starved. They were running out of money. They needed to think quick. They decided to use another company to import, or another company name to import their containers. The surveillance carried on Smith. On one occasion, Smith was seen to leave one car and join some associates in another car. A keen officer walked along, had a look through the window, and there was a piece of paper on the back seat. And that piece of paper had a container number on. That container number was the next container we seized.
With a strong case against the two ringleaders assured, Smith and his associates were arrested.
He had actually successfully, with George, imported 10 containers. With the help of our detection colleagues in Southampton, we seized 11 containers that contained 25 million cigarettes. The total revenue evaded was around about £9 million.
With the sheer scale of the fraud and the overwhelming evidence, investigators weren't surprised by the sentences handed down.
Smith was sentenced to 3 years, 8 months imprisonment. George received a prison sentence of 3 years and 11 months. Some people would say they played the game. On this occasion, the authorities won.
Still to come, officers stop a tricky customer in Gatwick.
Why have you been out there for a week?
I don't need to tell you.
Well, I'm a customs officer.
Yeah, but I don't need to tell you.
All right.
That's not your business.
Coming up, a passenger's playing up in Gatwick.
I haven't finished yet. Sir, let's
This
go.
is my document. You to read my stuff.
Stay there.
Off the coast of Cornwall, Customs cutter searcher is patrolling the limits of British waters, hunting for yachts headed for the UK from the Caribbean.
Right, we'll just leave St Mary's, the Scilly Isles, and we're going out to the west. And we're doing what we call a deep sea sweep. We're looking for anything that's out there, small commercial ships, yachts, fishing vessels. Then we'll go and have a look at them, and within a 12-mile limit we'll board them and see what they're up to.
The Atlantic is increasingly dangerous at this time of year, but smugglers are prepared to risk their lives in the hope of sneaking drugs into the UK undetected.
Territorial waters, we've got the power to board any vessel and ask people questions of where they've come from and search the vessels.
Colin uses a powerful radar to scan the ocean for yachts.
It tells us there's a target there, and that allows us to watch his course and speed, see where he's going, which direction he's going for a start. then we'll go and actually have a look at them. It's nice to find things, because it gives the guys a buzz. That's what you're here for in the first place.
But today there's nothing around but a vast ocean. And it's easy to see why the cutter crews are the most sought after jobs in customs.
Beautiful, aren't they? And that was the game, you see how close you get to the basket yard.
The chipboard truck with a suspicious X-ray is now in the search bay. The German driver is questioned, while Michael tries to uncover anything stashed inside the load.
Well, it's a load of chipboard, so what we've done is we've drilled in 2 holes towards the back. As I drilled through, it kind of went down about that deep, and then just gave way. And as I pulled the drill bit, I could smell a little bit of tobacco, and also I could see little bits of tin foil. The only problem is with wood, sometimes because the drill, it burns it when you're drilling. It can smell a little bit like, kind of tobacco type smells.
It could be a false alarm, but as the top layer of chipboard comes off, the source of the tobacco smell becomes very clear. Michael has uncovered a massive haul of cigarettes in a coffin concealment. The driver is arrested immediately.
Verstehe sowieso gar nichts. Weiß ich nicht. Well, there's a large quantity of tobacco, marble cigarettes. I'm guessing there's some other bits and pieces in boxes and stuff, but we'll find out in a bit. Well, the chipboard load's quite normal, it's quite common, but as you can see, it's easy to conceal items within it, because it's only cheap wood, it's a cheap load, they can get rid of it quite easily, and they can cut holes in it.
While the driver's questioned to see if he's involved, the officers need to count up the cigarettes.
How much is it?
You've got 160,000 in there, in the boxes, and 160,800 on the pallet.
So in total it's 320,800.
Just one. So that sounds like 6.
In all, nearly 2 million cigarettes.
Because you spend so much time looking in lorries and not finding stuff, because obviously, not everyone's bringing things in. So it's good to find something. That's a good number as well. This is what we kind of want to get, really, because this is the big numbers.
In Gatwick, the baggage X-ray has picked up a suspiciously empty suitcase, and customs want to talk to the passenger. Officers have to tackle all kinds of passenger, and some are more cooperative than others.
Hi, sir. Hi, where have you come from today? Tripoli, yeah? Okay, just want to bring your bag over here for us. Just here.
Officers ask simple questions to work out if further investigation is needed. But this man is making things difficult.
Yeah, no, that's fine. We'll try and make this as painless as possible.
You need to be quick, yeah?
But I understand I've got to do my job, though, yeah. Just, first of all, whereabouts are you going to in the UK? Where's home for you here?
Where I live here.
Yeah, where's home?
Check it in your system.
All right, if you tell me, then I won't have to go and check it.
Are you going to check it?
No, if you just tell me where you go.
Give me a break, let me go.
Why have you been out there for a week?
I don't need to tell you.
Well, I'm a customs officer.
Yeah, but I don't need to tell you.
All right.
That's not your business.
Did you pack the bags yourself?
Listen, yeah.
And do you know what's inside your bags?
Listen, I have just opened it.
All right.
Can you just...
Well, if you can open your bag up and let's have a quick look inside again.
Officers were alerted by the empty bag, but are now very intrigued by the man's demeanour.
Just got an empty bag, yeah? All right. Okay, that's all right.
No.
I won't need to take everything out.
My son is just waiting for me. Just get...
All right, sir. All right. Sir. All right, leave me to this, all right, and I'll finish, and then you can be on your way, all right? Just let me do my job.
Finish and let me go, idiot.
How much money have you got there?
You can count it. It is your money.
No, it's your money, so,
yeah,
you tell me how much you got.
What does that have to do with you?
Sorry?
What does that have to do with you?
I just would like to know how much you've got there.
I don't need to tell you.
All right, fair enough.
Unless the man starts to cooperate, this baggage search could take quite some time. Searchers' deep-sea sweep has so far been a washout.
Well, I'm heading back in for St Mary's now. Unfortunately, there wasn't very much out there today at all. We've searched quite a big area, but all we've found is lots and lots of dolphins.
But heading back in, the radar picks up a target.
This is the target here, this chap here.
The yacht appears to be coming from the Canaries, a frequent transit point for drugs from Africa and the Caribbean.
In this neck of the woods, but mostly where those vessels come from, into this area, I'd suspect that if there's anything there, it would be drugs. And it's possible it'd be quite well hidden on board the yacht as well.
Officers boarding vessels at sea never know what they might face. The drugs trade is worth billions, and smugglers are willing to protect their goods with force. Smugglers also try hard not to stand out from the crowd, so even the most innocent-looking boat needs to be treated with suspicion. This boat seems harmless, but they can't afford to take anything for granted.
It's just a customs visit. One of my colleagues is just going to have a quick look around. How many people are there on board in total?
4 of us, really.
It's just the 4, is it? Nobody else down below? Just let my colleague have a quick look, come back to me and let me know. Okay. Do you have any drugs on board? Cigarettes? Spirits? Narcotics? Or firearms? Guns? Knives? Explosives? You've got knives for the kitchen, that's fine.
While the officers question the crew, the officer searching below deck signals the all clear.
He's happy. He's happy. He does that when he's happy.
They decide that the boat is clean, and the happy crew sail off into the sunset.
Yes, Ray, Billy. That's us just left the Dutch yacht.